Hi, I'm Erik Voss, and Godzilla King of the Monsters was the surprise hit trailer from Comic-Con this year. Seriously, who expected a religious experience from a Godzilla reboot sequel? Wait a minute. Was there the whole time? This thing is filled with monsters! Titans, I mean. So let's go through this trailer frame by frame and point out all the details that you might have missed, what these creatures are, and how this movie will connect with its 2014 predecessor, and everything else in this monsterverse, Titanverse. Also, this video was sponsored by Dollar Shave Club. Stick around to the end for details about an exclusive offer just for you guys. Spoiler warning in case any of my predictions end up being right, and let's get started.
Our world is changing. The mass extinction we feared has already begun, and we are the cause.
Okay, these opening few seconds introduce us to Madison Russell, played by Millie Bobby Brown, Bobby B, who of course plays Eleven in Stranger Things. Judging from this trailer, she might as well be the same kid, facing off against a massive creature with long parts. Madison is the daughter of Dr. Emma Russell, played by Vera Farmiga. We hear her voice here and throughout this trailer. Emma is a paleobiologist working for Monarch, that was the organization from the previous movie. But the mother and daughter have been kidnapped by another mysterious organization. More on that in a bit. Now, if you're wondering where this is Boston. You can see the Prudential Tower in the background there, and the whole thing just smells like Sam Adams. Behind Madison is a US flag along with a POW MIA flag. Now that's for the National League of Families for prisoners of war and service members missing in combat. It flies on 6 holidays throughout the year, suggesting this scene could be taking place on Independence Day or Memorial Day. Or perhaps the people of this world are just flying it to honor soldiers who have gone MIA during these kaiju wars. The flags shift direction, signaling a shockwave from a coming cloud. More on this in the next clip.
We are the infection.
And as Madison takes cover, we hear Emma explain in her speech that the planet is facing an extinction-level event, and that human beings are the infection. Farmiga has described this movie as partly a mission to save the environment, and from her speech, it sounds like this calamity was brought on by human activity. Now, this has always been part of the traditional origin of Godzilla, which in the original Toho films by director Ishiro Honda in the 50s featured the monster getting awakened and empowered by nuclear radiation. The whole character was conceived as a metaphor for nuclear weapons. Now, this trailer doesn't specify exactly what kind of human activity brought on all the different monsters, but I have a theory that I'll get to later. Let's move on.
The Earth unleashed a fever to fight this infection. Its original and rightful rulers, the Titans.
Okay, probably the most powerful element of this trailer is of course the music. This is Clair de Lune by Claude Debussy. It's one of the most famous compositions from the Romantic period. It's really one of the best songs to evoke natural beauty and splendor, but it has been used a lot of different ways in a lot of different movies. Like in Atonement, it was paired with wartime imagery. In The Purge, it was ironically paired with a montage of human savagery. In Ocean's 11, it was paired with a feeling of release that victory brings along. And in Twilight Eclipse, it was used because Clair de Lune literally translates to moonlight. Deep. And here Clair de Lune works really well to express the natural beauty of the kaiju, so that rather than beasts to be feared, they're godlike titans meant to evoke awe. Emma makes her speech through a video feed encouraging humanity that they use all the titans to eliminate the threat, or to do what Ken Watanabe suggested in the previous film.
Let them fight.
And listen to the way Emma talks about the titans, the cure she says Mother Nature gave them to fight their own infection.
Its original and rightful rulers.
Now this is some pretty radical language here, at least a little more extreme than a rational scientist concerned about human life and collateral damage would say. But her delivery of this is a little stilted, as if it's being recited. I don't know, it's just worth considering that maybe Emma is being forced to read this speech against her will. Maybe this organization that kidnapped her and Madison are threatening Emma into reading their own psychotic manifesto, hoping that the scientist will lend that some authority. We also meet more of the cast, Holli Chandler, Coach Taylor as Emma's ex-husband Mark, and Bradley Whitford as the scientist Dr. Stanton. He's joining Mark on a mission to rescue Emma and Madison, along with Ken Watanabe, returning from the previous film as Dr. Ishiro Serizawa. He's in a submarine as it explores this undersea cave, and notice the hieroglyphics on the walls. Now these are ancient markings describing the existence of titans from ages past. Now we actually got a glimpse of these hieroglyphics in the post-credits scene of Kong Skull Island, which mentioned the Monarch Company. So yeah, these movies are connected in case you didn't know. Warner is gearing up for a big crossover movie, Godzilla vs. Kong in 2020. Yeah, versus, big stuff verse. Let's move on.
The Titans. For thousands of years, these creatures have remained in hiding around the world.
Here we see more of the rescue team. There's O'Shea Jackson Jr. from Straight Outta Compton playing Barnes. He leads a military group working with Monarch called the G-Team. They bring soldiers into battles involving the Titans. And as Mark observes Godzilla underwater with his 3 bladed scales funneling the beams of light, very cool, we see Thomas Middleditch from Silicon Valley. He plays Sam Coleman, a communications liaison between Monarch and the government. There's also Sally Hawkins reprising her role as Dr. Vivian Graham from the previous film. And you know what she wants to do with this undersea creature? Talk to it. She just wants to talk to it. Moving on.
And unless all the Titans are found, our planet will perish, and so will we. They are the only guarantee that life will carry on.
Okay, big stuff here. Emma gaze up at a giant block of ice and they're joined by Charles Dance, Tywin Lannister from Game of Thrones. He has a great moment later on in the trailer. I assume he's running this mysterious other corporation that kidnapped them. The ice contains another famous Godzilla monster, King Ghidorah. You can see its 3 serpent heads in the ice there. Ghidorah originated from the Toho film Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. Initially, it was believed that Ghidorah was a metaphor for the growing threat of China to Japan, which developed nuclear weapons in the 60s. But the director said it was just a modern take on the dragon Yamato no Orochi. It's a Hydra-like dragon with 8 heads and 8 tails. Emma's voiceover explains that all the monsters need to be found, and this trailer shows us 4: Godzilla, King Ghidorah, Mothra, and Rodan. This movie has an interesting promotional website for the Monarch Corporation and allows you to circle a globe for locations of the other Titans, including currently classified ones around Cambodia and Australia, Morocco, Sudan, Egypt, another one nearby in the Middle East, and then in Austria and Scotland, in eastern Russia, and in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, and in the US, somewhere near Atlanta, and then up in Canada, and then down near the Grand Canyon and Baja, Mexico. The map also shows Godzilla tracking his way along the water there. There's another location in the South Pacific, presumably this refers to Skull Island, which we know has its own Titan. The declassified locations give us more details about the Titans that we see in this trailer. Ghidorah is frozen all the way down in Antarctica, and it is referred to as Monster Zero, suggesting it was the oldest of the known Titans. Ghidorah is historically an evil monster, at least compared to Godzilla, who's kind of a chaotic neutral, like he doesn't really care what he destroys, and definitely compared to Mothra, who's definitely a gentle giant. Ghidorah is the arch nemesis to these two. He can fly, and his massive size causes gravitational shifts, seismic activity, tidal waves, and cyclones, and he carries a bioelectric currents in his body, allowing him to spew lightning and start electric storms. So seeing it frozen on the edge of Antarctica brings me to that theory that I mentioned earlier. Perhaps the environmental calamity that they were referring to is global warming, which we do know is causing the ice caps to melt and break off at rapid rates. Maybe now the melting ice is awakening Ghidorah, the evilest Titan. So now they have to awaken the rest of the Titans around the world to bring him down. One of the other locations on the Monarch map is deep in the rainforest of the Yunnan province of China, which contains Mothra. That's what we see here in this waterfall. The site says Mothra is still in a pupal stage, pre-hatching. Emma brings Madison here, allowing the girl to touch the creature's nose. Aww. Farmiga has said that Emma has figured out a way to communicate with the creatures and potentially control them using bioacoustics on a sonar level. I don't really know what all that means. Sound waves? But I'm thinking there could be some kind of telepathic link between these women and Mothra. Actually, in the Toho films, Mothra is often joined by twin priestesses, the Shobjin. They're these little fairies who dance and sing for Mothra, kind of serving as a translator from Mothra to humanity. It's awesome. I don't know, I could see this movie adapting that whole idea of Mothra priestesses with these two women, who seem like they could share a sensory link with the giant creature. Let me know your thoughts on that theory. On to the next clip. Whoa, money shots. So joining Mark on the boat is Zhang Ziyi as Dr. Chen, and I just love when Godzilla fires his atomic blast up at the sky. His bladed scales illuminate too. And we see that same kind of bioluminescence with Mothra as she opens her wings. Now this light can be weaponized in a blinding destructive blast that's called God Rays. What we're looking at here could be the moment she actually hatches and unfolds her wings. It's super appropriate for these two titans to share the two power notes of Clair de Lune, back to back. Godzilla is often called the king of the monsters, monsters, but Mothra is called the Queen of the Monsters. So even though we don't see the King and the Queen team up in any one frame in this trailer, the editing and the music and the lighting bring them together. Very well done. Let's move on.
You are out of your goddamn mind!
I am sorry, but this is the only way.
Okay, here there's a shot of Emma back at that icy Antarctica station with Ghidorah. And in the background you can see Madison once again reaching out with her hand. And looking closely at Emma's terminal screen as she pushes a button, it says detecting specimen bioacoustics. Maybe there's something to this telepathic connection with Madison. Like maybe there's something about Madison that triggers the bioacoustic response in a kaiju. We also jump to a new location. This is Isla de Mona in Mexico. It's a volcanic island and the resting place of the fourth titan, Rodan. Rodan's skin is comprised of volcanic sediment collected from centuries of dormancy in magma. So Rodan is based on the Pteranodon. Its Japanese name is actually a contraction for the word Pteranodon. The way Godzilla represented the lingering nuclear fears from the United States to Japan, Rodan represented the nuclear threat from the Soviet Union. Rodan was one of the earlier kaiju in the Toho movies after Godzilla. He actually got his own movie earlier on, and he later showed up in the Ghidorah movie that I mentioned. Here you can see the shadow of what I assume is Rodan flying over a city low enough to tear the roofs off. His wings can actually create sonic booms. And you can see some shots of Madison running down this hall as massive blasts of electricity pulverize the place. Now, I assume this is from Ghidorah, as remember, he can spit electrical charges, but where is this? Well, look at those images on the wall. Those are old-timey baseball photographs. Now, we know Madison is in Boston at some point from those earlier shots, and in this section we see another shot of a truck smashing through a gate with a radiation sign that says Boston. So I think a good guess is that maybe she's in Fenway Park here. The twisted debris that we see her surrounded by later in the trailer definitely looks like it could be part of that structure. So I don't know, I guess good news, Yankee fans? Moving on.
You're a monster. I'm sorry.
In this section, we see Madison in this office, sadly looking at this photo of her family on this iPad. Now, a few seconds later, we see this same photo, but framed on a table in a house as it quakes. Notice how there's an older brother in this photo that we don't see anywhere else in the trailer. Perhaps we're seeing what caused this family to split up. Perhaps a kaiju attack that resulted in the death of Madison's older brother, and the grief being too much maybe for Mark and Emma to bear. Also, notice that number 31 on the desk. Earlier, we saw number 32 outside the Antarctica station. Perhaps these numbers correspond to the Monarch stations around the world, which they number for every new dormant kaiju that they discover. There's also a shot of Rodan soaring over a wrecked Washington, D.C. Though I suspect those cyclones and the lightning were actually caused by King Ghidorah. And after Madison calls someone a monster, another shot frames her with a titan right outside the window. If you look closely, you can see a second head in the background there, so this is definitely Ghidorah, and it's really the one good look we get at its face in this trailer. Moving on to this final part.
Long live the king.
Okay, after Rodan deals with some fighter jets, we get this glorious master shot of Ghidorah, silhouetted in fog, followed by Charles Dance's great line.
Long live the king.
This is an obvious nod to Game of Thrones. As Tywin Lannister, he saw multiple kings die and probably had to say long live for all of them. We also see Rodan clap his wings, perhaps to emit his sonic boom, and Dr. Serizawa in a volcanic eruption, probably on a mission to awaken Rodan. And the final shot shows Madison smiling up at Godzilla, who definitely looks like he's on the side of the good guys, with the squadron of military aircraft coming in like cavalry behind him. But a question I have for you guys, which of the four titans that we see in this trailer do you identify as your spirit kaiju? Are you a gentle giant like Mothra? Are you a clumsy badass who doesn't care what he breaks like Godzilla? Or are you an icy, moody jerk with a split personality? Me, Rodan all the way, baby. I want to sleep in a volcano for thousands of years. Ooh, so warm, and just like clap away my enemies. Beat it, kids! Cutting in line at Universal Studios. Comment down below with your thoughts, or tweet me directly at Erik Voss, and follow New Rockstars on Twitter for updates on our videos. This video was sponsored by Dollar Shave Club. Look, we all have our everyday grooming routines. Sometimes that morning breath is atomic. You gotta brush, and you gotta do something with this. Well, I bet you didn't know that Dollar Shave Club, yes, that Dollar Shave Club, has all of your grooming products. Toothpaste, body wash, hair styling products, everything you need to look, feel, and smell your best. I had no idea they covered this much. It's the drugstore aisle I wished existed. Check it out. You get all this stuff and this calming body cleanser. It's perfect for when the haters heckle you on Twitter that the Comic-Con trailer breakdowns are taking too long. Ooh, calm. Dollar Shave Club is basically giving away their Daily Essentials starter set to new members for only $5. This starter set features 3 trial-sized versions of their most popular products to help you stay fresh and clean, along with their executive razor. In your first box, you'll receive their shave butter, body wash, and One Wipe Charlie's butt wipes. You'll also receive their executive razor, which includes their premium weighty handle and full cassette of cartridges. After the first box, replacement cartridges are sent for only a few bucks a month. This $5 offer is available at dollarshaveclub.com/newrockstars. That's dollarshaveclub.com/newrockstars. Get on this, guys. It really helps support this channel. And like this video, share it around, and subscribe to New Rockstars for breakdowns and analysis of all the stuff that you love and all the big stuff to come out of Comic-Con. Thanks for watching. Bye.